Good Tuesday afternoon to you. Welcome to the John Sanchez Show on News Talk 780 KOH. Pleasure to be with you, and a pleasure to be with my co-host. Around the horn we shall go, Mr. Cory Edge of Edge Realty. How you doing, Big C?
I'm fantastic, sir. How are you?
Very good. And I owe you an apology. I just want to start the show off by saying
just one?
Only one that I can think of.
This feels like deja.
Yeah, exactly. As long as we've known each other, I'm sure there's a bunch more, but I can't remember that.
I owe you too, so we'll call it even.
All right, we'll call it even. But you I don't think you mentioned this on the show, but your incredible son is just kicking butt in club league soccer and even higher levels than that. I'm not even describing it correctly. And you had told me during the show, or I think during the break, that he unfortunately was in a tournament and fell and broke both of his wrists. And I didn't get a chance to tell you how sorry I am. So I hope he's doing well and recovering well and everything.
Yeah, he's doing good. I was just talking to somebody who just asked me that not that long ago. So he was up and practicing on his own the day after it happened, and
no kidding.
Has been ever since. Probably, you've seen people like that. So that's been good. They just can't have any team practices or games for a couple more weeks, because if he falls, he has no other way to brace himself.
Yeah, God, I can't imagine. That just makes my stomach weak thinking about falling with two broken wrists. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, speedy recovery.
Thank you.
So absolutely, Mr. Dwight Millard of On Q Home Loans. Can we tell the audience the day you've had?
No,
come on.
It's just been a bad day, John.
We haven't had a chance to make fun of you in a long time.
Oh my God, that was just awful
Corey,
day.
You know what we're talking about. I was talking to him.
No, I haven't talked to Corey
or so ago, and he's had the day. It's a Tuesday, but it's like a Monday. Come on, you got to tell him. You got to tell the audience.
Well, I mean, it started off at 7:45, a blowout right there at Bellevue in Washoe Valley.
In your dress clothes.
In my dress clothes. Yeah, I'm in slacks and a dress shirt, and I'm changing a tire on a car that I don't even own yet. So it's crazy. Yeah, well, and it's got the Star Wrench, and you're looking all over for that little star thing. And so I get done there, run to, my knuckles are all beat up, and anyhow, so then you finally think you got it made, and you come home, and your little puppy that you got an upset stomach, jumped over the fence, and just got all the way through the house, so it's just been one of those days. But now I'm with you guys, and it's great.
But you left out the other part, which was you went to the tire store. They said they're not going to have it till what? Because you had an appointment back in Reno.
3 hours, 3 hours or something. So, I mean, after the show, I hope I can go get it. But yeah, it's been one of those days. I never have a flat. That's the strange, typically, I mean, I'm one of those people that pull off real quick. Yeah, it was awful.
And of all places to have in Washoe Valley too. Hey, I guess the bright side is it wasn't a blizzard, we get so much in Washoe Valley. Luckily, the winds weren't blowing 1,000,000 miles an hour like we get in Washoe Valley. So could have been worse, but I'm sure it was nice and hot.
John, I always find the lemonade in it. It was fine. It's all done now. Calm. I go get the tire put back on and call it good. So
why is this a car you don't own yet?
We haven't. Well, because
you demoing it or something?
I'll just say no. I'll give a plug. Chris over at Lee Brothers has taken such good care of us. Corey knows him. I think you know him.
Yep.
The guy's been amazing, letting us have. Because
my first vehicle over there.
Yeah. So he's been letting us have a couple cars to see if we like them, and we like this one, and so. Now he's been amazing. So if anybody's looking, the guy's fantastic.
Tell me you want a discount. You want a discount.
Yeah. Thank God I didn't have to buy 4 tires, because those all-wheel drives, they say, if we can't save this tire, you got to buy 4. I don't even own the car. I said,
Maybe it's an omen that you shouldn't.
We're gonna own it. It's just a matter of a day or two, but we're gonna own it. So
they change all the tires all the way around it.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because this morning I said to Melissa, I said, maybe I should drive the car, because she's, she had to go down to Carson too. And I go, maybe I should drive the car. And I did. And I got the flat instead of her. Can you imagine her with the flat?
There is
the, oh yeah.
There's the other bright side of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Lemonade.
Yeah. Here, let me fix the flat and go back to the house where the dog I'd have been in trouble. Yeah. So, all is well. All is well.
I was going to say, at least the rates were down today, so you don't have to worry about that.
True.
Right.
True. At least I don't have to be.
But I was joking
about that.
They weren't down.
So I'm gonna find another bright spot for you, Dwight. At least mortgages aren't tied to the 30-year mortgage.
Yeah. True.
Right? Hitting a 19-year high.
I know.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing. I don't feel bad for the day that I've had today. So.
Yeah, we're not robots on this show, right? It's real life.
No, we are human beings.
Yeah.
How about you, Corey? Did you have any good stuff happen today?
Good stuff? No, I mean, it was just a normal day, Groundhog Day.
Yeah, I'm with
Nothing wrong with that.
100%.
Yeah.
Like Dwight said, we're together now. We forget about the world for, the remainder of the show, and then we'll get back to reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of reality, let's get down to it. A bit of a tough day today on the street. Going to give you all the reasons behind it, of course. And then we're going to get into a very interesting topic. We've titled today's show, Everything is Negotiable, How to Get a Better Deal on Your Next Home. But folks, we're not talking about using Cory's excellent negotiation skills and he tells you, here's how you do it. We're talking about how the purchase price really is only one part of the negotiation. Because depending upon the property, the seller, the market conditions, there may be an entire list of other things on the table that you and your real estate professional can negotiate. Things like closing costs, repairs, mortgage rate buydowns, appliances, inspection items, closing dates, contingencies. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So the boys today are going to educate us on what those are. Because again, Cory, would you say, let me stop there. Would you say that we are in a negotiating marketplace at this point for buyers?
Yes, more so than it has been. I mean, it's still a seller's market. We'll talk about that a little bit, but more so than it has been over the last couple of years. You should be able to negotiate, again, whether it's price, a little bit of concession, some closing dates. The topic is spot on because everybody has different things that are important to them.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them don't involve money. And so it's really key to figure out what is important and can I give that to you and maybe get a little bit off the price in return if you're a buyer.
Right. Exactly. Dwight?
No, I agree. It's perfect. And, and there's such good nuggets in this thing because everybody does go after price. And we're going to talk about financing and the concessions.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody thinks taking 10 or 20,000 off the price is the way to go. And I'll nix that. But yeah, it's really because they do focus on one thing. That's the price.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Beautiful. Going to be a great topic, boys. Great job putting it together. Let's get down to the stock market side of things today. Well, we go back to this morning. Not a lot of activity was going on. We had a tremendous amount of economic data come our way, but there was not much going on the Dow side and on the S&P side, but there was a lot going on the NASDAQ side. Starting things off this morning in the pre-market session, we were down just north of 300 points, a little over 300. First update I did at 523, down 303. By the time the market was ready to open, we were down almost 400 an hour later on the NASDAQ futures. So it was one of those days. Now, what happened? Nothing as far as a major headline. It was, again, as I've said many times, we have this situation going on with the semiconductors, and it starts while we are tucked into our beds. It starts in the Asian markets, then it goes over, and I'm talking if there's a good day or a bad day in the semis. It starts in the Asian markets, then it goes over to the European markets, and then it hits us in the pre-market, and then it hits us at the opening bell at 6:30. So that's what it was today, a complete reversal across the board on semiconductors, momentum-oriented stocks, so on and so forth. And so not like one company came out, gave an earnings warning or any specific bad news. But it was a situation, like I said, where everything that was semi-related, whether it's a memory or actual semiconductor, it got hit today. Gosh, I don't even know where to start. I mean, I'll just hit some major names that were down today. You had Fabrinet, FN, not a household name, down 19.39%, 116.06 loss to 482.52. Coherent down $45.10, 12.84% loss to 306.12. Teradyne, 8.77% loss. Again, I could go right and down the board. But that sell-off also spilled over into the industrial sector, right? Caterpillar has been so resilient. We didn't get a lot of comments out of the White House today. As I said yesterday on the show, the memorandum of understanding, that 60-day ceasefire that, I think lasted about a day, it officially ended at midnight last night. Trump came out today and said there's no negotiations going on. Again, when the Trump administration told us 2 weeks ago that we're going to have a deal that Monday or that Tuesday. That's what our Treasury Secretary said. And obviously that's gone by the wayside. So we started to see weakness in Caterpillar. That stock seems to be really correlated to what oil prices are doing and so on and so forth. And we didn't get a big bump up in oil today, but just that global tension. Cat was down $40.82, 4.63% loss after posting some really solid gains yesterday. Stock closed at 840.83. Meta, they got a big trial that just started down in San Francisco, lost $25.30, 4.45% loss to 543.67. Big laggard again as these opening arguments began in the child social media addiction case. So everyone's watching that one very closely. Conversely, some names that aren't the most exciting, but boy, they had a good session today. Dow component Johnson & Johnson up $8.75. Coke $1.84 gain. Amgen up $5.90. Home Depot, great earnings numbers, really firm earnings numbers, good guidance saying it's a tough housing market, as you hear every day with the boys. But the stock ended up down just a little bit, down 21 cents to 337.67. I'm just going to get these out of the way. The data today. Actually, you know what, Corey? I'm going to save it because I'm going to start off with the housing starts and the building permits. I want to get your perspective on that. What number was good? What number was bad? Tell you about those. Hit the interest rates, the commodities, and then we're going to get right into our topic again. Everything is negotiable. Welcome back to the John Sanchez Show on Newstalk 780 KOH with Cory and Dwight, Realty, Dwight Millard of On-Q Home Loans. All right, here's how we finished up before we get to our topic. Everything is negotiable. All right, like I said, a bit of a tough one on the NASDAQ side, but let me get to the Dow first. We finished down 116 on the Dow, a 0.22% loss to 53,343. NASDAQ lost 355 points, 1.33% to a close of 26,289. And the S&P 500 lower by 53 points, 0.69% to a close of 7,691. Oil prices today edged up. We had over a $2 gain yesterday. Tack on another 42 cents today, 84.88 a barrel. Gold prices down $53.20. Closing level there on gold was $4,420 per ounce. And turning things over to the 10-year Treasury, down 2 basis points for the day to a 4.71% loss. But again, we got that 30-year that the street's getting very concerned about. Some are saying this could be the beginning of a downturn, but we will see. Actually went down a little bit on its yield today, down 2 basis points to a yield of 5.29. But again, we're hovering right around this 19-year high on that 30-year Treasury. Okay, Mr. Millard, over to you. How'd we do on the mortgage side of things today?
Yeah. So when you say that 19-year high, you can only imagine. So we're up 2 basis points on the 30-year fixed, according to Mortgage News Daily. 6.75, John. I mean, we've gone from the 6.5 range now to the 6.75. Yeah, it's a rough one.
What's interesting, though, is we had the 10-year go down and the 30-year mortgage went up. You don't see that very often.
Yeah. No, and the mortgage-backed securities were up, but just very slightly. But, they're just saying right now, when you look at the headlines, across the board, U.S. government debt yields are surging at a bad time. Bonds yields are climbing. You know what this means? Yes. Pending home sale, like you were going to talk about, retreat. I mean, it's just so anti-better rate news. It's, I don't know, John, it's just going to be.
Are you guys hearing anything, just quick side note, are you hearing anything out of the Trump administration regarding any type of programs that, Polte's dealing with, or anybody, anything lurking out there?
No. And John, I think the quickest fix they could do right now, is to back off those yield spread premiums, those add-ons for Fannie, Freddie, FHA, back off of them. Right. That'd probably drop rates a point.
Yeah.
That'd drop rates a full point if you got rid of that.
But like you said, it's a
cash cow
machine for the government. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
So when you, I'm curious, Dwight, when you say a point, is that 6.75 to 5.75?
Yeah, you probably would get if they backed off a lot of those, you'd probably at least you'd probably gain at least a half a point, if not 5/8 to 3/4 in actual rate.
So low 6%
depending on your your profile that added all those. But I mean, let's have a holiday, right? Till the end of the year or something, back off those. I mean, they're just loan level price adjusters. And this came out of the crash, or the meltdown of 08, 09. We never had those before. And now we've got them everywhere. That was, remember when they said the best borrowers in the world are still going to get, remember they were going to get hit. Everybody gets hit. Everybody's at least got a quarter in the deal, not in rate, but in cost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's go to the economic data. So Cory, as I said, as you all know, going into the close here, we finished good on one, or I should say we got one good report and one bad report. The good report, of course, was building permits, 4.5% gain month over month, and this is July's data. So let's focus on the good one first, and then we'll go to the bad news, which was the housing starts. Yes, yeah, I actually have some comment on that. I just looked at my notes. So yeah, the weakness was in the single unit starts, which is a month that featured rising interest rates. There we go. That increased the cost of financing. So sorry. Yeah, sure, right. Now I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish. Yeah, building permit. Yeah, we lost Cory there. So what Cory was going to say, the building permits, which again is obvious. I'm sorry. Say it again, Cory. You froze up there. Sorry. What are they pulling back, Dwight?
Their starts. Their starts.
Yeah.
Right, they got to clear out. They got to clear out their inventory, John. That's what a smart builder would do. Anybody that's weathered the storm, you got to get them off your books.
Yeah. So the building permits were up 4.5% month over month. Up 5%. Month over month. And again, the bright side is that's a forward-looking indicator. But as Cory always says, you don't know how far out they go. Right? Are they? I shouldn't say how far they go, but when are they actually going to break ground, right? Just because you pull a permit,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
how long do you have, Dwight, and a housing tract to start building when you get your permits? I mean, they
Yeah.
can postpone it quite a while, can't they?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. And John, I think they do. You know, I don't know what the purpose of pulling the permit unless you go through more regulation, you know, or they have some changes, right? You got to go back to, you know, so you can let the permit stay there. I don't know what the time frame is, but you can let it sit there for a while.
Right.
I mean, you don't have to go pull the permit. So it makes sense to kind of keep those guys on that front end working, you know, to have the permits just sitting in the hopper, and maybe you pay the money to pull them. You just don't go.
Right.
And I don't think it's that expensive to pull the permit, but
right. And it's like what we call a shelf registration in the stock market, right? A company can, whether it's an IPO or a secondary offering, they'll go file with the SEC and be ready to go. And then they'll, like the saying says, they'll put it on the shelf and wait for the best market conditions to do that offering. So,
well, and John, I think too, that makes sense, because then you say, I don't think they can come back retro. Maybe I'm wrong to say, hey, now your permit, we got to come back and change. So your permit stays and it's good. Can you imagine they go, we need to add another tree. You got to resubmit it. Can you, I mean, that'd just drive you crazy.
Yeah.
But that's what happens, right? So I think that's what makes sense. Get your permits. And maybe, you know, John, the one thing about the permits, if you get into be interesting where they came from, because if you get into winter months in those states, why not get your foundation, get your slab down before it gets cold, and you don't have to blanket and all that stuff. So maybe you just get it poured and you're ready to kind of work throughout the winter.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
All right. The rest of the reports today, like I said, there was a lot. We had import prices down 0.4% for the month of July. Export prices also down 0.4%. That was interesting. Industrial production up 0.2%. They were looking for about a 0.4% gain there. So a little bit of a miss. And then pending home sales came in also, a little bit on the weak side, down 2.3%. They did revise the prior month of June, of course, revised it to negative 4.8% from negative 5.4. So a little bit of an improvement there.
But there's a pullback, John. Yeah, there's a pullback on the pending.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And now it's just not on the new construction that we've been talking about. Right. Now everything. Yeah.
And that's why I started this segment, Dwight, by saying, are you guys hearing anything out there? Because the data is there. The earnings numbers from the publicly traded builders were pretty decent. But let's use Home Depot as an example. They, good earnings numbers, but they said very, very challenging environment. Very challenging environment.
Mm-hmm.
So the writing's on the wall. I wish someone would do something again.
But John, you could even go, we've talked about this. You could even go into the local and county governments. I mean, they could give some sort of a holiday to something, I mean, these hookup fees, we could talk about this forever, but these hookup fees are high. The affordability, and that's what's driving the builder confidence so low. There's just the affordable. You can't. It's so tough right now, and these builders are out there. They're out there exposed, John. Yes. I mean, maybe not the nationals, but these local guys, these regional guys, man, you got to hand it to them. They keep trying to
a lot of guts.
Provide, and it's not easy.
No, sir. All right. When we come back, we're going to get ready to get into our real estate topic. Everything is negotiable. How to get a better deal on your next home. And again, we're not going to be talking about prices. That's going to be very little of our topic on negotiations. It's all the other things that you're going to learn about with Cory and Dwight. Welcome back to the John Sanchez Show on Newstalk 780 KOH with Dwight Millard of On Q Home Loans, Cory Edge of Edge Realty. Once again, we finished down 116 on the Dow, and the NASDAQ was the trouble spot today. As I've mentioned a few times, we gave up a pretty good chunk on the NASDAQ side, down 355, 1.33%. S&P lower by 53 or 0.69%. All right, but that's it on the stock market side. Now we're going to move on to the home, right? The real estate side of things. I'm going to put Cory and Dwight to work. I want to know the following. What really is negotiable in today's real estate transaction? Again, we'll touch on price, Cory's specialty, but there's so much more that, like Dwight said at the beginning of the show, can really, really add up. So, Cory, let's start with you. How much leverage does the buyer have in today's marketplace?
It depends. I mean, it depends on the seller. Depends on how motivated that specific seller is. But I will say, in general terms, you have more leverage than you did, again, 2 years ago. The longer a house sits on the market, the more leverage you have. The more information you can get on the seller, the more leverage you have. It's all information and timing, right? And by leverage, John, nobody's going to give their house away to 30% discount, unless there's something crazy wrong with it. So leverage might mean sometimes it's dollars. Sometimes it means, hey, I can get a few bucks off. Sometimes it means I can do an extended escrow because that helps me out. Sometimes it means you're going to throw in the lawnmower, the refrigerator, the washer, dryer, and your used Chevy that's sitting in the backyard. Like there's all different ways to use it. I think a lot of people jump straight to dollars and cents. And as Dwight has always educated us, sometimes a lower price isn't the best option as far as affordability and cash flow. So you got to kind of look at everything.
Hey, Cory, would it make I'm sorry, John.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Cory, would it make sense to assume that the seller may already be in contract on another? I mean, we're struggling to find, bridge loans and things like that. I mean, that's very motivating to a seller, right? If you could find out if they're relocating already in a deal, correct?
Dwight, now we're having tech issues with you.
I got about half of that.
My goodness. It's not.
Sound like Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. All right, Dwight, as you kind of reboot there. Cory, if I said, share with us the Cory Edge list of things you look at, because you're so great at, I'll call it kind of investigative analysis, right? Like you said a moment ago, you look into things, you don't assume anything, you find out what's really motivating the seller, et cetera. So if I said, Cory, put together this list, what would be on that list, as far as things to look into before you go, you know what, I can really arrange some good negotiation with this buyer or with this seller?
So a lot of this is just my OCD, right? Like this is just how I do things. So I want to see the history of the house. Has it been in escrow before? If it's fallen out of escrow, figure out why. And this is just me personally. I try to do all this before I call the listing agent because hopefully I can find out the answers before I ask the question. Because I don't know if somebody's giving me the real story or not.
Right.
So if it's been in escrow before and fallen out, I'd like to know why. If it was in escrow for a long time and fell out, it's usually a loan problem. If it was only in escrow for 2 weeks, it's usually an inspection issue. If it's in a trust, then I'll try to dig around. This is going to sound hokey. Try to dig around and see, okay, well, are both people that are in the trust still alive? Did somebody just pass away? Like you're just trying to find out all the information. And again, it doesn't mean they're going to take a much better deal because I have all these answers. It just means that I can help my client tailor their offer to what that person needs.
Right.
And I've told many people over the years, hey, don't worry about paying full price if we think it's worth it, if we can get XYZ on the back end. Because everybody else is going to give them full price and not get that stuff. So let's try to figure out what's important here.
Right. All right. Do we have you back, I think?
Am I back?
Yes, you're good.
What my question was to Cory, is it safe to assume that the seller may already be in contract on another property? And if you could find that out, that gives you some leverage there, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't know that I would assume it, but it's certainly a question that pops up. And if that listing agent is, so every deal is different, but if the seller is in contract on another property, a smart listing agent is going to make the sale of their current house contingent on that house. Does that make sense? Because if I get in contract with you, I don't care if you buy the other house. We have a contract and we're moving in no matter what. And so, yes, I wouldn't assume that is always the case, but it's very important to know if it is the case.
But here we are talking about negotiations. You just mentioned something that happens a lot, Cory, which is, I've got another house. Oops, it's not ready. And I can't coordinate these times of when I'm closing escrow on the house I'm selling and closing escrow on the house I'm moving into. So therefore, hey, Dwight, Mr. Great, seller, hey, can I rent this place from you for 3 months while my house, gets finished up? You guys have mentioned that many times. That can be fairly lucrative, actually.
So I just closed a deal last month in that exact scenario. I had the seller. We were looking for another property. She was older, so I didn't want her to have the stress of closing and having to be out. I didn't want her packing ahead of time because every deal, till the deal's done, it's not done. So I didn't want her to go through that if we could help it. So I said, we have to negotiate a minimum 1 or 2 month rent back so that we can get through this, keep the stress level down, make sure we can get into the new place. That was very important to her. And so we probably gave up a little bit in the sales price that she accepted in order to get that. But the deal went until the very end. It went a little wonky at the very end, but we got through it. But it went smooth. Nobody stressed out. Beautiful. She got her house. Her buyer got her old house. Like it all worked out.
So but John, that's where you use Cory, because Cory is exactly right. Why not negotiate a rent back than trying to do a bridge loan and cost $25,000?
Yes, absolutely.
Just cost you $25,000 to do a bridge loan. That's actually the smartest way to go, to give you that time. And I think, Cory, if I'm not wrong, well, you have to be careful though, John, because the new buyer technically needs to move within 60 days, but of getting the loan. But what I'm saying is, but you could do an extended escrow. You could do a 60-day escrow and then a 60-day rent back to give you that time. But that, to me, in today's world of these bridge loans not really being effective, it's a good way to go.
So here's my question, Cory. Do you typically, like it sounds like with this deal you just closed, you negotiated on the sales price of the house. Your client did not, the seller, she did not write a rent check for whatever, $2,500 a month to the buyer. You just did it and you negotiated it in the price. Is that right?
So the way that I'd like to handle these things is figure it out all up front with my client, whether it's a buyer or seller. Here's going to be the best scenario. So now we know what the best scenario is. So then when the buyer, in this particular case, when the buyer came in and I could talk to the buyer agent the very first time, was the very first thing I said to him. It's very important to us to have this rent back. I offered it at no rent, of course, because it's my client. They came back and said, at least pay my client's PITI, principal, interest, taxes, insurance. No problem. So my client paid it through her proceeds at closing, never wrote a physical check, but it was all there and done. And so again, I find that you can solve a lot of problems by just discussing it up front.
Yeah, I like that approach.
And taking care of it.
Not waiting to the last minute, right? Dave, before a day of escrow, go, oh, by the way, we need to stay in here another 60 days. Yeah.
But I made the comment earlier, and I've had it happen at least 3 times that I can think of, where the seller is in contract on a new house. We've got a closing date, and they'll call 2 days before and say, "Oh, the house isn't ready." Like, that's not my problem.
Right.
Like, that's you weren't smart enough to write a contingency in here. That's not my problem. So.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Dwight, let's get started. We got about a minute before we have to go to break, Dwight, but this is really one of the most important ones, the mortgage rate buy down. And you guys have talked to your blue in the face about this being a big negotiation factor right now. Break the ice on this one, then we'll come back and finish it up.
Yeah. So real quick, they're called concessions. On FHA, you've got 6%. On conventional, you can range from 3 to 9. It's just a way to buy the interest rate down. You can do a permanent rate buy down, which means you're throwing all your money to buy it down right now. If rates go down and you refinance, you kind of waste it, or you can do a temporary buy down. I'm a huge proponent right now of temporary buy downs, which I would say I never would be until now. But it's just a way. John, it makes more sense than to take $10,000 off of your sales price than to put it toward buying down the rate. You gain much more ground negotiating rate. Not only that, you become your worst comp, right? If you knock $50,000 off, Cory's a great negotiator. He knocks $50,000. You're your own worst comp. Yeah, so I like to keep the sales price up. Everybody in the neighborhood likes to keep, and Cory does this. This is what he does. And he negotiates everything else, such as points, rate buy downs, or different things. You can prepay a lot of stuff too. You can prepay your taxes, your insurance. So you can take some relief off the buyer. So, I mean, that goes much further than reduction. Every time, John, there's not been one time I've worked out the numbers where actually taking money off the sales prices.
Okay, perfect. All right, we'll continue our discussion when we come back. Great job, boys. Everything is negotiable. Welcome back to the John Sanchez Show on Newstalk 780 KOH. Mr. Millard, can we get your phone number, sir?
Absolutely. 240-2022.
Mr. Cory Edge.
673-6700.
Beautiful. Thank you, boys. All right, Dwight, we're tight on time. A lot of things to still talk about. Anything you want to add on the rate buy down? It's something you got to put a lot of thought to. You need
absolutely, and at least get the due diligence and know what the difference is, because that's the way to go. I'm just telling you right now. I've not been able to create a scenario where it's better to just take it off the price.
Beautiful. Okay, Cory, your next negotiation point: the home inspection. One of those pet peeves of yours.
Yeah, and it's very important. As a buyer, it's the most important thing. As a seller, it's the day you're kind of dreading sometimes. The way our contracts work now, they changed them a few years ago. Theoretically, you will have already negotiated price and everything else ahead of time. Then a couple of weeks later, the inspector's got to roll through. Now you get to go through a whole another set of negotiations depending on what the inspector finds. Most of the time right now, John, unless it's a big issue, you're negotiating over cash, right? Okay. It's very rare now, at least in my office, to have somebody actually do the repairs, right? Unless it's something big. But if it's a list of little things, like I closed another one last month, and I think the repairs, they had a handyman bid it. I can't remember the numbers, like $3,200 or something. So they asked for that in a credit, so they would just take care of it. My guy was like, absolutely, I don't want to deal with it. If you want to deal with it, go for it. but it's still a negotiating thing, right? And in a market where the super strong sellers market used to be able to say, nope, not touching it.
Yep, I remember
take it or leave it. In the current market, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in the current market, I would recommend to most sellers under most circumstances, you should take a hard look at it because you may not, your net difference may be much lower than what you think if you have to go back to the market right now.
When does it kind of become ridiculous, Cory? I mean, is there a dollar amount where you tell let's say you're representing the seller, you tell the seller, look at, yeah, whatever, under $3,000, just give it to them. From 3 to 7,000, let's try to negotiate. Over 7,000, hey, this is serious. You need to get this stuff done. Any rule of thumb like that?
No, usually what I'll do, again, like in the 2 instances I just gave you, they'll have to still send us the report. Here's the report, and here's what we want fixed, or we'll take X amount of dollar amount. I have enough contacts where I'll run it through. If I can't figure it out myself, I'll run it through my GC guys or the anyone contractors. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what would you charge for this? And if it's in the ballpark of what they're requesting, then it's way easier to give them the money than to have our guys come out and do it. Okay. But I've been the flip side, like, oh, they want 10 grand, and my general contractor's like, I can do that for 2 grand on, tomorrow. Like, okay. Right. So the seller still has the choice. You don't have to give them cash. You could say, no, send me a list, I'll fix it. Mm-hmm. Just remember, sellers aren't allowed to do all their own work. So you can't be
that. Really? Is that new?
No, but you need to be careful. I shouldn't say not allowed, but if you have huge electrical problems or any kind of structural problems or anything else,
contract then items, right? Things
correct.
You need a licensed contract. Okay.
Yeah, you don't just get to start, pulling out the electrical panel box and putting in your new one to save 2 grand and then expect the buyer to still buy the house from you.
Okay. Beautiful. Yeah. Okay, guys, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do a rapid fire round, right? We only have a couple minutes left. So I'm going to alternate. I'll tell you which one of you are going to answer this question. And what we're trying to do here is negotiable or not. That's all you got to say. Negotiable.
It's like a game show.
Like a game show. Here we go. Millard. Or no, Cory. Closing date.
Absolutely. Negotiable.
Seller rent back, Dwight.
Negotiable.
Cory, appliances.
Absolutely. Negotiable.
Cory, furniture.
Negotiable. Yep. Just did one of those.
Okay. Home warranty.
Negotiable.
No, that was you. Next one's Dwight. HOA related cost, Dwight.
Oh boy, that's probably not negotiable. That's probably not negotiable. To who pays it is, but you can't negotiate away from the fees.
Any feedback on that one, Cory?
So who pays it is negotiable, but Dwight's right. Yeah, you can't you can't buy the house and say, I don't want the HOA. I'll take everything else, but not the HOA. That'd be awesome, but you can't.
But what if there's back dues?
Completely negotiable. Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. All right. We just covered repairs. We know that's negotiable. Dwight, closing costs.
Negotiable.
Okay. Cory, contingencies.
Absolutely. Yes. Negotiable.
Possession date.
Me.
Negotiable.
Okay. Yeah. Both of you. Yeah. That one's a good one. Negotiable. All right. That's it for the rapid fire. That was pretty simple. Took it easy on you guys. Cory, let's wrap it up with this. How do we find out what the seller actually wants, right? We think there's a big mystery to it, but the Cory Edge world of simplicity, I think you have a different answer for us. So share that.
So again, my OCD, I try to look at everything I can on my own, but the best source of information ultimately is going to be the listing agent. So I try to figure it out on my own and then ask a listing agent. And I will tell you, I've been doing this almost 30 years. 97.5% of the listing agents you call will be upright, honest.
That's going to be my next question.
Tell you exactly what, they're very good people and easy to deal with. There are that 2.5 to 3% that will lie directly to your face, but you'll know it. Like you can figure it out.
They have a legal responsibility to be honest with that, right?
Yes. I mean, they'll claim that, no, I got to get what's highest and best for my seller, but you can't lie to people. I mean, come on, we're human beings.
Exactly. Fascinating. All righty, boys. Great job as always. Do appreciate you. What great knowledge. And reach out to the fellas if you have any questions and need to figure out if it's negotiable or not. Great job, boys. See everybody tomorrow. God bless.